On the distant planet of Epsilon Prime, the human colony lived in a state of peace and harmony. Among its inhabitants was a young girl named Lily. Known for her bright smile and kind heart, Lily was loved by everyone. She spent her days helping others, her laughter echoing through the colony's streets. Her parents, Sarah and David, cherished her deeply, and her friends admired her bravery and spirit. One day, the calm of Epsilon Prime was shattered by an unexpected attack. A ruthless alien faction, the Zorath, descended upon the colony with no warning. Their ships, sleek and menacing, blocked out the sun as they hovered over the peaceful settlements. The Zorath were known for their cruelty and had a reputation for leaving destruction in their wake. The colony's defenses were quickly overwhelmed. The Zorath's weapons unleashed chaos and fire, causing panic among the colonists. As the attack intensified, Lily and her friends tried to find safety. They ran through the narrow streets, their faces pale with fear. Lily's courage was evident as she led her friends to a hidden shelter, determined to protect them. But the Zorath were merciless. Despite their best efforts, Lily's family and friends could not escape the devastation. In a heart-wrenching moment, Lily was separated from her group. She stumbled into the open, trying to find her way back to her loved ones. The alien forces, seeing her as nothing more than a weak target, seized the opportunity. With no regard for her life, they brutally attacked her. Her screams were drowned out by the roar of alien weapons. The sight of Lily's lifeless body lying in the rubble was a devastating blow to the entire colony. Her parents, Sarah and David, were overwhelmed with grief. They searched desperately for their daughter, but found only the remains of her bravery. The community gathered to mourn her loss, their hearts heavy with sorrow. Lily's death was not just a personal tragedy, it was a symbol of the senseless violence inflicted upon them. News of the attack spread quickly, reaching the broader human territories. The story of Lily's death became a rallying point for the human colonists. The grief and anger of the people were palpable. They could not accept the brutality inflicted upon a young girl who had done nothing wrong. The Zorath's actions were seen as an unforgivable offense against humanity. The human leaders were faced with a critical decision. They had to choose how to respond to this ruthless act of violence. The sense of injustice was profound, and there was a growing demand for retribution. Lily's death had stirred something deep within the human spirit, a call for justice and a desire to defend their honor. In the wake of this tragedy, the seeds of a larger conflict were sown. The people of Epsilon Prime would not let Lily's death go unpunished. The brutal attack had united them in their resolve to fight back, setting the stage for an epic struggle against the alien aggressors. The memory of Lily and the love she had shown would fuel their determination as they prepared to confront the threat that had devastated their lives. Thus began a new chapter in humanity's struggle for survival and justice. The colony, now marked by sorrow and anger, would rise from the ashes of its loss. The story of Lily's bravery would become a beacon of hope and a powerful motivator as they prepared to unleash their hidden strength upon those who had brought them such grief. Back on Earth, the news of the Zorath attack and the brutal killing of Lily had sent shockwaves through human leadership. The Council of United Nations, now overseeing all human colonies, convened an emergency meeting. Leaders from different sectors gathered in a high-tech conference room, their faces grim and resolute. The meeting room was filled with tension. Holographic displays flickered with images of the destroyed colony and the alien ships responsible for the devastation. The council members, including General Roberts, the head of the Earth Defense Forces, and Ambassador Chen, the chief diplomat, listened as reports from Epsilon Prime were read aloud. General Roberts slammed his fist on the table. "We cannot just sit here and do nothing. Lily's death is a call for action. We need to show the Zorath that humanity will not be pushed around." Ambassador Chen nodded in agreement but raised a concern. "We need to consider the bigger picture. The Zorath are a powerful empire. Engaging them could lead to a full-scale war. We must think carefully about our response." The room buzzed with heated discussions. Some council members argued for immediate military action, demanding a swift and decisive strike against the Zorath. Others feared the consequences of such a move, advocating for diplomatic solutions or limited strikes to avoid further escalation. As the debate raged on, President Collins, the leader of the council, took a deep breath and called for silence. We have always sought peace and diplomacy. However, the attack on Epsilon Prime and the murder of an innocent girl cannot be ignored. We must make a stand. Collins then proposed a radical idea. Years ago, we created an ancient fleet, a powerful force that was meant to be our last line of defense. It has been in cryogenic sleep for centuries, waiting for a moment like this. I believe it's time to awaken this fleet and show the Zorath the strength of humanity. The room fell silent. The ancient fleet was a myth to many, a story of powerful warships and legendary warriors from a bygone era. Awakening. It was a daunting task, but the idea sparked a flicker of hope among the council members. The fleet's existence was a symbol of humanity's resilience and capability. General Roberts looked at President Collins with determination. If we awaken the ancient fleet, we'll have the power to strike back at the Zorath. It will be a message that we do not tolerate their violence and that we are ready to fight for our people. Ambassador Chen, after considering the proposal, spoke up. It's a risky move, but it might be our only chance to defend our colonies and restore justice. If we act now, we must be prepared for the consequences and ensure that the fleet is ready for battle. The council reached a consensus. They decided to awaken the ancient fleet, preparing it for the mission of retaliation. The order was given to initiate the long and complex process of reviving the fleet from its centuries-long slumber. This decision marked a pivotal moment in human history, turning the tide from passive diplomacy to active defense. As the meeting adjourned, the weight of the decision settled heavily on the leaders. They knew that awakening the ancient fleet would be a monumental task, and that the upcoming battles would test their resolve. But they were united in their determination to seek justice for Lily and protect humanity from further alien aggression. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation that would determine the future of both human and alien civilizations. In the hidden depths of a long-forgotten base on Earth, the process of awakening the ancient fleet had begun. The base, buried deep within a mountain and protected by layers of advanced security, had been silent for centuries. Its walls, lined with dust and the passage of time, now buzzed with new activity as the command was set into motion. Inside the control room, scientists and engineers worked feverishly. Holographic displays illuminated the dark space, showing detailed schematics of the ancient warships. Each console was manned by experts who had been specially trained for this moment. They knew that what they were about to do was unprecedented and fraught with challenges. Dr. Elena Hart, the chief scientist overseeing the revival, was at the center of the activity. Her hands moved swiftly over the controls, her face etched with both excitement and anxiety. Initiating the cryogenic wake-up sequence, she announced, her voice steady despite the enormity of the task. The team held their breath as the massive cryogenic chambers, which housed the ancient fleet's ships and crews, slowly began to come to life. The chambers had been dormant for centuries, with their contents in deep freeze. As the sequence progressed, the temperature inside the chambers gradually rose. The hum of machinery filled the air, and the first signs of movement were visible. The gigantic warships, once a symbol of human might, began to stir. Massive engines roared to life, their dormant systems springing into action. Lights flickered on the ships, casting an eerie glow on the metallic surfaces. The ships' hulls, covered in layers of protective material, were slowly revealed as the outer coverings retracted. Simultaneously, the crew members, long in cryogenic sleep, were being revived. The chambers opened one by one, releasing the humans who had been preserved in stasis. They awoke with groggy eyes and confused expressions, their memories slow to return. Some were veterans of past conflicts, while others were new recruits from a bygone era. Among the revived crew was Admiral John Harrison, a legendary figure from humanity's past. As he stepped out of his chamber, his eyes surveyed the bustling command center. "So it begins," he said, his voice a deep rumble of authority. He looked around at the new generation of humans who would fight alongside him. Dr. Hart approached Admiral Harrison, briefing him on the current situation and the mission ahead. "Admiral, we've awakened you and the fleet to respond to a dire threat. The Zorath, an alien empire, have attacked one of our colonies and killed a young girl. We need your leadership and the fleet's power to take action." Admiral Harrison nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "We will not let this act of aggression go unanswered. Prepare the fleet for battle. We will show the Zorath the might of humanity and ensure that our colonies are protected." The command center was soon filled with the energy of preparation. The fleet's advanced technology, dormant for centuries, was being calibrated and tested. Crews familiarized themselves with their old but still formidable warships. The ancient fleet, once a relic of the past, was now a beacon of hope for humanity's future. As the final systems were activated and the fleet readied for deployment, a sense of unity and determination settled over the base. The awakening of the ancient fleet marked a turning point in the struggle against the Zorath. Humanity's hidden strength was now unleashed, and the stage was set for a dramatic confrontation that would determine their future. The fleet, brimming with renewed energy and purpose, prepared to set course for the alien empire. The journey ahead was fraught with danger, but the ancient warriors were ready to defend humanity and seek justice for the fallen. The battle for Epsilon Prime and for humanity's honor was about to begin. As dawn broke over the hidden base, the ancient fleet's preparations were in full swing. The once silent corridors and massive hangars were now alive with activity. Every corner of the base echoed with the sounds of engines revving and systems powering up. The fleet, a formidable force from humanity's past, was gearing up for its first battle in centuries. Admiral John Harrison, now fully briefed on the situation, stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Resolute. The ship, a colossal war vessel with sleek lines and heavy armor, was coming back to life with a series of low rumbles and bright lights. The Admiral's seasoned eyes scanned the various holographic displays that provided real-time updates on the fleet's readiness. "Status report," Admiral Harrison commanded, his voice firm and authoritative. Lieutenant Maria Sanchez, the fleet's operations officer, tapped on her console. "Admiral, all ships are operational. The crews have completed their training simulations and are now fully prepared for combat. We're just awaiting final clearance to jump to the Zorath system." Harrison nodded, a steely determination in his gaze. "Excellent. Let's make sure everything is in perfect order. We're about to make our presence known." The fleet consisted of several warships, each one a marvel of ancient technology. The Resolute, Defender, and Avenger were the largest and most powerful, while smaller support ships provided logistical and tactical support. Each ship was equipped with advanced weaponry and shielding systems, long dormant but now fully functional. As the fleet readied itself, the base's control room was abuzz with preparations. Engineers double-checked every system, ensuring that the powerful weapons and engines were at peak performance. The air was thick with anticipation. This was not just a military operation, it was a quest for justice and retribution. Admiral Harrison addressed his crew, standing before a large holographic map of the galaxy. "We are about to enter enemy territory. Our mission is clear. Strike hard, strike fast, and show the Zorath that humanity will not be intimidated. This is not just about vengeance for Lily, it is about defending our people and securing our future." The crew responded with nods and murmurs of agreement, their faces set with determination. They had trained for this moment, but now it was real. Each crew member understood the stakes and was ready to face the challenges ahead. The moment arrived for the fleet to leave the base. Massive doors at the base's hangar slid open, revealing the vast expanse of space. The warships, one by one, moved out into the void, their engines glowing brightly as they prepared for their journey. The Resolute led the way, its powerful thrusters propelling it forward. The other ships followed in formation, a line of glistening steel cutting through the dark of space. The fleet's path was set for the Zorath Empire, a journey of thousands of light years that would take them deep into enemy territory. As the fleet accelerated towards its target, the crew members braced for the unknown. The journey would be long and perilous, but their spirits were high. They were not just fighting for retribution, they were fighting to protect their way of life and to show the galaxy that humanity's strength could not be ignored. With each passing moment, the ancient fleet drew closer to the Zorath Empire. The stakes were high and the tension palpable. The fleet was ready to unleash its full might, and the crew was prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The battle for humanity's honor was about to begin, and the fleet was determined to make a decisive impact. The journey through space had been long, but the ancient fleet finally approached the Zorath Empire. The ships, sleek and imposing, emerged from the darkness into the heart of enemy territory. The crew aboard the Resolute and its sister ships prepared for the confrontation they had been anticipating. Admiral John Harrison stood on the bridge of the Resolute, his eyes focused on the vast expanse of space ahead. The Zorath homeworld, a planet shrouded in thick clouds and dotted with futuristic cities, loomed large on the view screen. The fleet's sensors picked up multiple Zorath ships patrolling the space around the planet. "Admiral, we're picking up Zorath ships on the outer perimeter," Lieutenant Maria Sanchez reported. "They appear to be standard patrol vessels. They don't know we're here yet?" Harrison nodded. "Good. Let's make sure it stays that way until we're ready. Prepare for initial contact and set up a defensive perimeter around the fleet." The Zorath patrol ships, sleek and menacing with their dark hulls and sharp angles, moved in predictable patterns. They were designed for intimidation, but the ancient fleet had an advantage. It was not only technologically advanced, but also driven by a sense of justice and determination. As the fleet moved closer, the Zorath ships began to notice the strange, powerful vessels in their vicinity. Their sensors detected the approaching threat, and their commanders quickly realized that these were no ordinary ships. They sent a message to their command center, alerting them to the unknown fleet. On the Zorath command ship, General Kor, a grizzled and ruthless leader, received the report. His eyes narrowed as he studied the readings. "Unknown vessels entering our space. Prepare for possible engagement," he ordered, his voice cold and calculating. Meanwhile, on the Resolute, Admiral Harrison prepared for the first contact with the Zorath. He knew that this encounter could determine the outcome of the upcoming conflict. His strategy was to assert dominance without starting a full-scale battle unless necessary. "Open a communication channel to the Zorath command ship," Harrison instructed. "Let them know we are here and that we are not to be underestimated." The channel crackled to life, and a Zorath officer appeared on the screen. His eyes glowed with an eerie light, and his voice was sharp and commanding. "This is Zorath Command. Identify yourselves and state your intentions." Admiral Harrison's voice was steady and firm. "I am Admiral John Harrison of the Human Fleet. We have come in response to the attack on our colony and the murder of an innocent girl. We seek justice and will not tolerate further aggression." The Zorath officer's expression shifted to one of surprise and then irritation. "You dare challenge us? We are the Zorath and you are insignificant." Harrison's eyes hardened. "We are not to be underestimated. We will defend our people and exact retribution for those who have suffered. Leave our space or face the consequences." The Zorath officer's face twisted into a sneer. "We will not be threatened by your outdated vessels. Prepare for battle if you dare." The communication ended abruptly, and the Zorath ships began to maneuver into defensive positions. The tension was palpable. The first contact had been made, and it was clear that the Zorath were not going to back down easily. Admiral Harrison turned to his crew, his voice resolute. "Prepare for engagement. We will show the Zorath that humanity is not to be trifled with. This is just the beginning." As the fleet readied for the impending clash, the vastness of space seemed to hold its breath. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of both civilizations. The ancient fleet, with its powerful legacy and unwavering resolve, was poised to make its mark on the galaxy. The space around the Zorath homeworld crackled with tension as the ancient fleet and the Zorath patrol ships prepared for battle. The Zorath, confident in their advanced technology, underestimated the power and resolve of the human fleet. Admiral John Harrison stood at the helm of the Resolute, watching as the Zorath ships began to take aggressive positions. "Admiral, Zorath ships are moving into attack formation," Lieutenant Maria Sanchez announced. "They're preparing to engage." Harrison nodded, his face calm but determined. "All ships assume combat readiness. Engage enemy vessels on my mark." The Zorath ships, sleek and menacing, launched their first wave of attacks. Energy beams and missile barrages streaked through space, targeting the human fleet. The Resolute and its sister ships, Defender and Avenger, responded with their own powerful weapons. Shields flared brightly as they intercepted the Zorath's initial onslaught. "Return fire!" Harrison commanded. "Target their lead ships and disable their weapons." The Resolute's massive cannons roared to life, sending powerful energy blasts toward the Zorath vessels. The Defender and Avenger followed suit, their smaller but highly accurate weapons striking the enemy with deadly precision. The Zorath ships, though formidable, struggled against the sheer firepower and advanced tactics of the ancient fleet. The battle quickly escalated. Zorath reinforcements arrived, their larger warships joining the fray. The space around the Zorath homeworld became a chaotic battlefield, with explosions and energy beams illuminating the darkness. The ancient fleet's superior tactics and coordination began to turn the tide. "Admiral, we've taken out the lead Zorath ship," Sanchez reported. Their reinforcements are approaching. We need to hold our position and prevent them from regrouping. Harrison's eyes scanned the battlefield. Engage their reinforcements and focus on their command ships. We need to disrupt their coordination and weaken their forces. The ancient fleet, with its advanced technology and strategic prowess, pressed the attack. The Resolute's heavy weapons targeted the Zorath command ships, while the smaller ships provided support, intercepting enemy fire and protecting the larger vessels. The Zorath, though powerful, were struggling to adapt to the relentless assault from the human fleet. On the Zorath command ship, General Kor watched the battle unfold with growing frustration. His forces were being pushed back, their superior technology unable to cope with the unexpected strength of the human fleet. "Increase the pressure! We cannot let them gain the upper hand," he ordered. Despite his orders, the Zorath forces found themselves in a precarious position. The coordinated attacks from the human fleet were relentless, and the Zorath ships were taking heavy damage. Explosions erupted among the enemy ranks, and several Zorath vessels were forced to retreat. The battle reached its peak as the Resolute engaged the Zorath flagship, a massive and heavily armored vessel. The Resolute's crew, working with precision and determination, focused their fire on the flagship's vulnerable points. The Zorath flagship, despite its formidable defenses, began to show signs of severe damage. "Admiral, we've almost disabled the flagship," Sanchez reported. "Their forces are in disarray." Harrison's face was set in a determined expression. "Keep up the pressure. We must ensure they cannot regroup or launch a counterattack." The battle continued to rage as the human fleet pressed its advantage. The Zorath forces, once confident and aggressive, were now reeling from the unexpected ferocity of the ancient fleet. The outcome of the battle was shifting, and the Zorath Empire faced a growing realization that humanity's ancient warriors were a force to be reckoned with. As the battle unfolded, it became clear that the conflict was far from over. The ancient fleet had made a powerful statement, but the Zorath were not ready to surrender. The clash of civilizations continued, each side determined to secure its place in the galaxy. The battle around the Zorath homeworld raged on, with the ancient fleet pushing the Zorath forces to their limits. Admiral John Harrison stood on the bridge of the Resolute, his eyes fixed on the chaotic scene unfolding in space. The tide of the battle seemed to be shifting in humanity's favor, but he knew that the Zorath were not to be underestimated. "Admiral, we've inflicted heavy damage on their fleet," Lieutenant Maria Sanchez reported. "But their flagship is still operational and their command structure seems to be holding." "They're regrouping." Harrison nodded, his expression grim. "We need to break their command structure. If we can take down their flagship, the rest of their forces will likely fall into disarray." The Zorath flagship, a massive and heavily armored vessel, continued to engage the human fleet with its powerful weapons. Despite the damage it had sustained, it remained a formidable force and was orchestrating a coordinated defense. The Zorath were fighting fiercely, but the weight of their losses was starting to show. On the Zorath command ship, General Kor's frustration was palpable. His once confident demeanor had turned into a scowl as he watched his fleet struggle against the relentless assault from the ancient vessels. "Increase firepower on the Resolute! We must neutralize their flagship and turn the tide," he ordered, his voice edged with desperation. The Zorath fleet intensified its assault on the Resolute. Waves of energy blasts and missiles hammered the ship. Additionally, we need to send a clear message to the galaxy about our resolve and our commitment to defending our people. Meanwhile, the Zorath homeworld was left in a state of upheaval. The once proud cities now lay in the shadow of defeat, their advanced infrastructure damaged by the battle. The Zorath command struggled to regain control and address the repercussions of their failed offensive. The retreat and surrender of their forces marked a significant blow to their empire's confidence and power. On the Zorath command ship, General Kor's face was a mask of anger and frustration. "We underestimated the humans," he growled to his subordinates. "Their ancient fleet is more formidable than we anticipated. We need to regroup, reassess, and prepare for a more strategic approach." As the Zorath began to recover from their defeat, the human fleet took steps to consolidate their victory. They established a defensive perimeter around the Zorath system, ensuring that no immediate threats could arise. The ancient fleet's presence served as a powerful deterrent, a reminder of humanity's strength and resolve. Back on the Resolute, Harrison received a transmission from Earth. The news of the victory was met with jubilation and pride. The battle had been a critical moment in humanity's history, and the ancient fleet's success was celebrated across the galaxy. Admiral Harrison, the message from Earth began. Congratulations on your victory. Your courage and leadership have made a lasting impact. Continue to hold your position and prepare for any future developments. Harrison replied with a sense of purpose. Thank you. We will remain vigilant and ensure that humanity's presence is respected. We have proven our strength, but we must continue to stand ready. As the ancient fleet settled into its new role, the galaxy watched closely. The balance of power had shifted, and the legacy of humanity's ancient warriors had been renewed. The aftermath of the battle set the stage for new challenges and opportunities, and the ancient fleet prepared for whatever lay ahead. The victory was a testament to humanity's enduring spirit and the strength of its legacy. The ancient fleet had made its mark, and the path forward was one of vigilance and determination. The battle against the Zorath had transformed the galaxy and marked the beginning of a new era. The ancient fleet, victorious and battle-worn, had become a symbol of humanity's strength and resilience. The aftermath of the conflict had left the Zorath in a state of disarray, while the human fleet prepared for the future. Admiral John Harrison stood on the bridge of the Resolute, gazing out at the peaceful expanse of space. The once intense conflict had given way to a calm, but the remnants of the battle still lingered in the debris fields around the Zorath homeworld. The fleet was now focused on rebuilding and solidifying their position. Admiral, we've completed initial repairs on all major systems, Lieutenant Maria Sanchez reported. Our forces are in good shape, and we're ready to resume full operational capacity. Harrison nodded, his mind already on the next steps. Excellent. Let's start by establishing a more permanent presence in the Zorath system. We need to ensure that our defensive capabilities are in place and that we're prepared for any further developments. As the fleet began to set up a more permanent defensive structure around the Zorath system, the human government and military leaders held a meeting to discuss the implications of their victory. The ancient fleet's success had not only secured a significant strategic advantage, but had also altered the balance of power in the galaxy. The meeting took place in a large conference room on Earth, with representatives from various military branches and government officials in attendance. General Rebecca Lewis, a senior advisor, addressed the assembly. Our victory over the Zorath has demonstrated that humanity's ancient fleet is a formidable force, General Lewis began. But we must also consider the long-term implications. The Zorath will not easily accept their defeat, and other factions may see this as an opportunity to challenge us. President Sarah Thompson, who had been closely following the developments, spoke next. Additionally, we need to send a clear message to the galaxy about our resolve and our commitment to defending our people. Meanwhile, the Zorath homeworld was left in a state of upheaval. The once proud cities now lay in the shadow of defeat, their advanced infrastructure damaged by the battle. The Zorath command struggled to regain control and address the repercussions of their failed offensive. The retreat and surrender of their forces marked a significant blow to their empire's confidence and power. On the Zorath command ship, General Kor's face was a mask of anger and frustration. "We underestimated the humans," he growled to his subordinates. "Their ancient fleet is more formidable than we anticipated. We need to regroup, reassess, and prepare for a more strategic approach." As the Zorath began to recover from their defeat, the human fleet took steps to consolidate their victory. They established a defensive perimeter around the Zorath system, ensuring that no immediate threats could arise. The ancient fleet's presence served as a powerful deterrent, a reminder of humanity's strength and resolve. Back on the Resolute, Harrison received a transmission from Earth. The news of the victory was met with jubilation and pride. The battle had been a critical moment in humanity's history, and the ancient fleet's success was celebrated across the galaxy. Admiral Harrison, the message from Earth began, "Congratulations on your victory. Your courage and leadership have made a lasting impact. Continue to hold your position and prepare for any future developments." Harrison replied with a sense of purpose. "Thank you. We will remain vigilant and ensure that humanity's presence is respected. We have proven our strength, but we must continue to stand ready." As the ancient fleet settled into its new role, the galaxy watched closely. The balance of power had shifted, and the legacy of humanity's ancient warriors had been renewed. The aftermath of the battle set the stage for new challenges and opportunities, and the ancient fleet prepared for whatever lay ahead. The victory was a testament to humanity's enduring spirit and the strength of its legacy. The ancient fleet had made its mark, and the path forward was one of vigilance and determination. The battle against the Zorath had transformed the galaxy and marked the beginning of a new era. The ancient fleet, victorious and battle-worn, had become a symbol of humanity's strength and resilience. The aftermath of the conflict had left the Zorath in a state of disarray, while the human fleet prepared for the future. Admiral John Harrison stood on the bridge of the Resolute, gazing out at the peaceful expanse of space. The once intense conflict had given way to a calm, but the remnants of the battle still lingered in the debris fields around the Zorath homeworld. The fleet was now focused on rebuilding and solidifying their position. "Admiral, we've completed initial repairs on all major systems," Lieutenant Maria Sanchez reported. "Our forces are in good shape, and we're ready to resume full operational capacity." Harrison nodded, his mind already on the next steps. "Excellent. Let's start by establishing a more permanent presence in the Zorath system. We need to ensure that our defensive capabilities are in place and that we're prepared for any further developments." As the fleet began to set up a more permanent defensive structure around the Zorath system, the human government and military leaders held a meeting to discuss the implications of their victory. The ancient fleet's success had not only secured a significant strategic advantage, but had also altered the balance of power in the galaxy. The meeting took place in a large conference room on Earth, with representatives from various military branches and government officials in attendance. General Rebecca Lewis, a senior advisor, addressed the assembly. "Our victory over the Zorath has demonstrated that humanity's ancient fleet is a formidable force," General Lewis began. "But we must also consider the long-term implications. The Zorath will not easily accept their defeat, and other factions may see this as an opportunity to challenge us." President Sarah Thompson, who had been closely following the developments, spoke next. "We need to use this victory to strengthen our alliances and show that we are committed to peace and security in the galaxy. It is also crucial that we continue to invest in our technology and defense capabilities to maintain our position." The discussions were focused on building alliances with other species and ensuring that humanity's presence in the galaxy was respected. The ancient fleet's success had opened new doors for diplomatic and strategic opportunities. The once marginalized human forces were now recognized as a major power, and their role in galactic affairs was changing. On the bridge of the Resolute, Admiral Harrison and his crew continued their preparations. The fleet's new mission was clear: to safeguard their territories, support diplomatic efforts, and be ready for any future threats. "Admiral, we've received communication from several allied species," Sanchez informed him. "They want to discuss forming stronger alliances and collaborating on mutual defense." Harrison smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment. "This is a positive development. Our victory has not only secured our position, but has also opened the door for stronger relationships with other species. Let's make the most of this opportunity." As the fleet engaged in diplomatic talks and continued to strengthen its position, the galaxy began to adjust to the new reality. The ancient fleet's presence was a reminder of humanity's enduring strength and the beginning of a new era of influence and respect. The victory over the Zorath had set the stage for a more secure and influential future for humanity. The ancient fleet, now a symbol of strength and determination, was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The galaxy had been changed by their actions, and the dawn of a new era was upon them. In the wake of the conflict, humanity stood on the threshold of a new chapter in its history, one defined by strength, resilience, and the promise of a more prominent role in the galaxy.